watching AYV Television.
Good evening, this is Primetime News on AYV Television, Channel 33 and Radio FM 101.6. I am Tolomo Suma. Don't forget, forms are still out for the Big Brother Housemates Salon 2019. Visit any AYV or AfriCell offices across the country to secure a copy or get more information. But first off, let's start with the headlines.
Paramount Chief Member of Parliament Baiku Kanabaru Sankar III refers to President Bill's budget as cut and paste.
The same people who wrote over to Kagos, Gatfala Mara, are the same people sitting in that place who wrote it. They don't stand back the same.
Mayor of Freetown Municipality commissions the 600 million Brewery submersible solar-powered water wells for residents in Wellington.
We can, with the help of Brewery, the support of Brewery, for that we can open this water well.
And new Salcab head vows to upgrade the entire country's internet capacity from 83 gig of data to 260 gig.
In the next couple of months, we will be upgrading the entire country capacity from 83 gig capacity to 260 gig capacity as a nation.
And now for the full news with Salama Suma.
Paramount Chief Member of Parliament Baiku Kanabaru Sankar III from Masingbi Town in Tonkole District has said the country needs think tanks in governance, stating that most of what is in the budget is taken from past budgets. He said this whilst adding his voice to the ongoing debate. Other issues surrounding health and agriculture were also raised during the debate. Our parliamentary reporter Joseph Johnson has been following proceedings and now reports.
There was less contribution from MPs in the debate today, but the two debaters made contributions that captured the attention of all in the well, including its speaker. Paramount Chief Baiku Kanabaru Sankar III raised issues surrounding the manufacturing industry and agriculture in the country, whilst Honorable Abdullahi Sissay pointed out issues in the health sector. These were the crux of the argument.
What are we doing as a nation to improve agriculture? The other side, manufacturing. What are we manufacturing in this country? Do we produce even salt we eat every day? Or we import all the salt we eat, all the maggi we eat, all the onion we eat, all the cooking oil we eat? These are the things we look at in any budget, in anywhere, to show that we are developing. The same people who wrote over to Kagos, Gatfala Mara, are the same people sitting in that place who wrote it. That means we are not progressing as a nation. If you look at the statistics here, they said here, income tax revenue for 2018 was 5.2% of the GDP. From this budget, they don't stand back the same. I am happy to stand here and say this to the nation, that we need a think tank. We should have people who will think to say, this is what we need to do to develop our country.
How can we now establish a public health agency when we already have a bolted wage bill? Creating more agencies will only increase the wage bill for our country. Therefore, I want to encourage government to pay attention on establishing a center of excellency either here in the capital or in one of the regions. When you have one that is excellent, then we can use it to refer all of our patients.
With the early adjournment of today's session, it seems Monday will be a marathon of debate on the said budget. Parliament also approved Cecil McBailey file as board member Tertiary Education Commission, Jonathan George, Chairman Sierra Leone Export Produce Agency, and 4 members of the Independent Media Commission. Joseph Johnson, AYV News, Freetown.
Campaign for Good Governance, with support from National Endowment for Democracy, has organized a one-day constituency volunteers advocacy training at the CCSL Hall. The focus of this training is to inform citizens on accountability representation, rule of law, civil education, and advocacy. David Turner was at the training and now reports.
It is no secret that parliamentarians hardly sit with their constituents to discuss their social problems. With the team closing the feedback loop between constituents and members of parliament, the project officer of Campaign for Good Governance, Masara Jallo, explains the importance of the training.
It is to help capacitate the set of volunteers we've identified in the constituencies we're working with under this project. This project is a national endowment project in which we're trying to bridge the feedback loop, bridge the gap between the constituents and the constituencies, the MPs, because we realized that during the last parliament we had a lot of issues with members of parliament and their constituencies. In fact, as a result of that, most of them did not go back to parliament in the past elections because the people thought they were not representing them well, they were not communicating.
At the training, volunteers were selected from constituency 110, 127, 130, and 132. Volunteers explained what they will do in their various constituencies to ensure they spread out the message.
With this training, I believe I've learned a lot. I've gained new ideas as well as old ones. So I will put them together and make sure I implement it in my community by involve the chiefs, the heads, the committee heads like the youth chairman, and I involve stakeholders and elders in my community.
Also, as somebody so much engaged in social activity like sports, I'll be able to use this forum to send down this message and encourage youth that laws must be changed. Laws will be able to change through coming together and not by opinion or perception, but we'll be able to change this country with laws.
With this training, volunteers are expected to create impact in their various constituencies for national development. David Turner, AYV News, Freetown.
The Sierra Leone Brewery Limited has commissioned 3 of 7 submersible solar-powered water wells on behalf of their parent body, Heineken African Foundation. The clean drinking water wells will benefit residents of Wellington Industrial Estate, Koyatown, and Lokotown in Wellington East End of Freetown. The gesture, according to Albert Ojukolia, Corporate Affairs Manager, Sierra Leone Brewery Limited, forms part of the company's continued effort to ensure they support development across these communities they operate. The commissioning ceremony was done by Her Worship the Mayor of Freetown Municipality, Yvonne Akisoya. Samuel Koma has the details.
This is a move by the Sierra Leone Brewery Limited to empower the people of Wellington, east end of the capital, in a critical development area, with commissioning of the first set of 3 out of 7 submersible solar-powered water wells on behalf of their parent body, Heineken Africa Foundation. The clean drinking water wells, which will benefit residents of Wellington Industrial Estate, Koyatown, and Lokotown, access to water for thousands of residents in Sierra Leone Brewery Limited's operational communities. The total cost of the project, according to the Corporate Affairs Manager, Sierra Leone Brewery Limited, Albert Ojukolia, amounts to over 600 million yuans.
Heineken set up a foundation where they give money for big project for the sponsor. That's so we get a relationship with Catholic. But this place, we don't find out that water stress area, like here we get water problem. So we need to bring it up to that standard before we begin go other side. I make the next day within and so Okanville, where we don't complete.
Member of Parliament for Constituency 115 in the Wellington community, Honorable Alpha Amadou Ba, commended Sierra Leone Brewery Limited for always being at the service of the people in his constituency.
Water and sanitation now the key problem of Africa. If you solve the hygiene problem of this country, with the issue of health not a problem. If you get clean drainages, you get clean water supply. I guess we know the situation then. We know the sick people in hospital. So the money government will spend per hospital, it will reduce.
Freetown City Mayor, Her Worship Yvonne Akisoya, who graced the occasion, noted that the Sierra Leone Brewery Limited water project covers the 3 key development clusters of health, water, and sanitation that the Freetown City Council is focused on.
Today, we come with the help of brewery, the support of brewery, for that we can open this water well.
So I tell God thank you, and I'm very happy on behalf of all the community and the councillor and brewery for declaring this well open.
This is a gesture community people across Wellington will forever remember. Samuel Kuroma, AYV News, Freetown.
The managing director for the Sierra Leone Cable Limited, engineer Ibrahim Kebe, has said that they will be upgrading the entire country's internet capacity from 83 gigabytes of data to 260 gigabytes. He made this disclosure at the launching of their new logo and products at their Salcap's office off Beach Road in Freetown. Ransford Luby Meziga has the details.
Even though the telecommunications industry has been faced with enormous challenges, but the sector is still growing. Ibrahim Kebe is the managing director for Salcap. He disclosed that the launch of these products will allow clients to ride on fiber cable to connect their backhaul base stations and distribute data.
Today we are officially launching our new national fiber bundles. These offerings will allow our clients to ride on the fiber cable to connect their backhaul base stations and enhance transmission and distribution of data. We will complement these offers with smart switches and routers deployed at our point of presence to give our clients access to remote configuration and provisioning and monitoring. Today is the starting point of a bright future. Our product development team is continuously driving innovations that will support our clients to increase the quality of service while driving market penetration. In the next couple of months, we will be upgrading the entire country capacity from 83 gig capacity to 260 gig capacity as a nation. This upgrade is a significant win for the country and the President's agenda in driving the digital economy.
On the side of government, the Deputy Secretary at the Information and Communications Ministry, Abbas Saliu Kamar, applauded Salcap for their efforts and reminded all that the ministry puts premium on their activities.
It's important to note that the Ministry of Information and Communications puts premium on the activities of Salcap. As a government, we have placed the people of Sierra Leone as our top priority, especially the youthful generation. In this case, ICT being an enabler and Salcap at the center of the game, anything that makes them efficient, optimally visible in the right direction is welcomed by the ministry and the government.
The new brand and logo is designed to purposely reflect a new dawn. The drive to innovation and the vision is to provide high-quality service to the nation. Ransford Lubimetska, AYV News in Freetown.
World Vision has ended a closed-out session of their 4-year project titled Women Empowered for Leadership Development. This project targeted over 2,000 women through savings groups, adult literacy, business training, and politics, among others. The project was stretched in 7 districts, and the closed-out session held at the Kenema District Council. Bokari Matia has the details.
The project operated in 7 districts across the country, changing the lives of women through savings groups and financial literacy, and also training women in politics before, during, and after elections, of which 7 are now parliamentarians and 53 are councillors.
We start this project 4 years ago. We'll not be even sure say we could be 2018 because we've not done 2017. But the donor see and fit for extend the project for another year. And we believe, say, with the results that we will get, they could look and they could decide waiting for you. Because I just say they don't see the results that we will get in this country. Most of the other countries that we get similar projects, they don't ever get the kind of result that we, the project in Sierra Leone, don't show.
Some of the beneficiaries from the savings group, Women's Caucus, and CSOs shared their testimonies.
First one will begin, I'm sure that before box we can get. Now, we don't get more than 10 box. More people than once. Because of the help with that box, they help me. One woman don't be lost. Will they make business? Will they make swamp out of the way no more how they are?
Then train we, and we able continue, we have to fight the battle. And even when they're not training, we have to go through and become a counselor. Everywhere we don't go to the city, the training still will continue. We don't know how they behave with self, that even the council will say with it.
The beneficiaries and many of them around the country have called on the World Vision to soon ask donor partners to restart the project. Bokari Matia, AYV News, Freetown.
The Environment Protection Agency has, in collaboration with partners, facilitated the validation of the National Adaptation Plan framework in Sierra Leone. According to the Director of the Environment Protection Agency of Sierra Leone, Momodu Al-Rashid Ba, the document will enable parties to formulate and implement national adaptation plans as a means of identifying medium and long-term adaptation needs and developing and implementing strategies and programs to address those needs. Samuel Koma has more.
Climate change poses a major threat to our country due to the climate sensitivity of the economy, high exposure to the climate change disasters, and limited capacity to adapt. The impact of climate change in Sierra Leone is showing itself on a daily basis. This is pegged on the 2015 report on climate change, placing Sierra Leone third most vulnerable country, second to Bangladesh. The engagement stems from the collaborative work of the Environment Protection Agency of Sierra Leone. With the support from key funders, Sierra Leone's SNAP process will be a country-driven and contextually defined vehicle that will seek to prepare institutional coordination around adaptation, accelerate resource mobilization for adaptation, and deliver effective and sustainable adaptation outcomes for Sierra Leone. Mohamed Al-Rashid Ba is the director of the Environment Protection Agency, Sierra Leone.
A national adaptation framework will lead me to a national adaptation plan. And this plan now for then we're able to highlight all the priority actions as to how we will make the country more resilient to the adverse impacts of climate change. Because as you know what's been happen in this country. There is frequent floods and even the mudslide. 16 August, last year, 2016. And I know that. So if we now get a very robust national adaptation plan, we'll continue to face that.
Sierra Leone is still dependent on natural resources and on a fragile ecosystem that already suffers from the frequent flooding and mudslide, with a diminishing in agricultural and fisheries productivity. Sierra Leone is vulnerable to climate change, as it is evident from the floods and mudslide that occurred at Motome, Regent, Kaningo, Krube, Susan's Bay, and other informal settlements along the hills and the coastal areas. Samuel Kuruma, AYV News, Freetown.
The National Commission for Social Action, NACSA, has received a team from the German government to assess the impact of funds they have been providing to the people of Sierra Leone through NACSA. The team will be going to different project communities across the country to have first-hand information from beneficiaries. Abu Bakari Nakufole is the commissioner of the National Commission for Social Action.
After Sierra Leone's 11-year civil conflict, the country was classified from the German perspective as a fragile state. It is against this backdrop that the German government decided to support the country in consolidating the hard-won peace. The German government has since been providing support to youth empowerment and income generation for youths in rural communities. As a way of continuing their support to Sierra Leone, a team has been sent to get first-hand information from beneficiaries of the said project. Commissioner of the National Commission for Social Action, Abu Bakari Kokofele, tells us more about the visit.
They give us money to implement projects to empower communities. It is just normal that they come to see what their money has done in the community, the impact of their investment in the country. So they'll be going tomorrow to the field to have first-hand direct engagement with the community people out in the field where the projects are being implemented. But they wanted to engage with me first, with the team here at our headquarters.
A member of the visiting team, Rani Frank, said They are impressed with the fact that the government has given them an open atmosphere for dialogue and further states that they have more programs for the country.
First impression that we had from our discussion is that there's an openness for the dialogue, and what we would like to do is we would start to discuss actually our new programs. So in this case, we are happy that the government, the government partner are open for it, and we are looking forward to discussing the next step for cooperation.
It is expected that the outcome of this visit will give a new face to NACSA. Swale Hovandi, AYV News, Freetown.
This is Primetime News on AYV Television, Channel 33 and Radio FM 101.6. Stay with us as we bring you more news after this break.
The ball was out. Boy, the ball was out. The ball was out, boy.
Not now. I promised to top up EDSA today.
Stop complaining and use your AfriCell line to buy us EDSA.
My AfriCell line? AfriCell?
Oh yes! With your AfriCell line. To buy EDSA, simply dial *161# to access your AfriCell money account and choose bill payment. Then select EDSA recharge. Enter your meter number, enter the amount you want to pay, and then enter your AfriCell money PIN to confirm your transaction.
But how can I refill my AfriCell money account?
You can top up your AfriCell money account with no extra charges from any AfriCell outlet near you, or simply at any shop or bank where you see a sign that says AfriCell money available here. Buy EDSA now straight from your AfriCell money account at the cheapest cost ever. A price nobody dares to match.
AfriCell, Norway Network.
Welcome back. This is Primetime News and I am Tolomo Suma. Let's continue with the rest of our other stories. The National Commission for Persons with Disability has held a national consultative workshop that is geared towards validating the medical screening tool and the certification of persons with disabilities. The document also seeks to protect the rights and privileges of persons with disabilities in the country. Our reporter Ronald J. Morovia has more on the story.
This document, according to the Executive Secretary of NCPD, Salamin Kotekui, seeks to educate people with disabilities on their rights and privileges, especially in the area of healthcare services. He added that this instrument will also help identify the types of disabilities.
The aim of the workshop is to validate a medical disability screening instrument that we've put together. The essence of that is to have the national flavor. We developed that one and then submitted it to the medical board. And then Section 7(1)(a) of the Persons with Disability Act mandates that the recommendation of the medical board is to give a permanent certificate to all persons with disability in order for them to benefit from the rights and privileges that have been enshrined in the Persons with Disability Act. This is the instrument we're going to use to determine which type of disability you have.
While addressing the gathering, the chairman of the National Commission for Persons with Disability, James Taiwo Collins, appealed to members to work together in pushing their concerns forward.
Make we all reserve, because if we not all reserve, we're not going to succeed. This certificate here is very important. You know, make we look critically and go through the exercise for we map out the good things about these screening tools. You see, we go to another level now. Because plenty people, I'll tell you something, they can seize advantage by we the disabled.
This consultative meeting brought together people with disabilities from across the country. Ronald J. Morovia, AYV News, Freetown.
The Foundation for Rural and Urban Transformation Fund has distributed sporting and recreational materials to children and young people's clubs in 8 schools in Freetown, making it 25 schools for this year. The donation, according to Fund, is part of their activities to fight against alcoholism and violence among pupils and young people. Here is the report. The donated items include 2 footballs, a pair of football jersey, a volleyball net, and 10 skipping ropes to each of the schools. The beneficiaries of this donation include St. Edward's Junior Secondary School, Richard Allen High School, and Wesleyan Secondary School, among others. Beshi Dauda is the logistics officer for the Foundation for Rural and Urban Transformation Fund. He speaks on the essence of this donation.
We've come here today to donate some recreational materials to the school through the CYP Club. Really what we want to achieve is that we want to achieve quality education for the boys, take their minds away from alcohol and drugs, and to raise the awareness of our boys here, particularly in St. Edward's, so that they know the harmful effects of alcohol and drugs in the school community. We just want them to ensure they use these items for their intended purpose, and secondly, we want them, the school authorities, to ensure there is less violence during these school activities, because that's exactly what we are against.
Beneficiaries say the donation is timely. They promise to use the items for its intended purpose.
We are very pleased to have received donations from food. Okay. These ones will actually ginger up the peoples, particularly those who are traumatized. Okay. You know, we are just emerging from the war era. We want to transform these kids, and in a place of trauma, we bring them games. And games, they participate, they compete and participate. We are very happy that this one will actually act as a catalyst in transforming their lives from those traumatic era to a new era.
We are happy that they are trying to erect a building there for the guidance and counseling department, wherein we have a barrier and an office for the guidance counselor, for individual counseling and group counseling for the children, and we have already formed a club here.
On behalf of the principal, staff, and the pupils of Richard Allen High School, and the club and the CYP members, I want to thank the 4 youth organizations for their timely and endless support to the school, especially the construction of the guidance counseling office. Once more, I thank you.
Government has recently reintroduced the inter-schools sporting activities in the country. This donation is therefore timely. Toloma Suma, AYV. Tretram International has awarded 90 million yuans to Tretram Trust Fund as an education support to deprived children in the country. This support is geared towards complementing government's efforts in the education sector and also improves education in the country. Ronald J. Morovia was part of the donation ceremony and now reports.
This support, according to the managing director of Tretram, is part of their corporate social responsibility they have been given to Sierra Leone. He added that Tretram has over the years provided educational and medical support and will continue to provide such.
As the name suggests, Tretram Scholarship Fund looks after the education sector, do all their best, how to improve the educational standards in the country. And Tretram Charity Trust, its role is more diverse after the health sector in the country. I don't have to introduce you to Tretram Memorial Hospital. It's a project by the Tretram Charity Trust. Now, these 2 trusts, the funding is provided by Tretram International Foundation. Madam Chairperson, it's a great privilege and honor to present to you this check for 90 million euros to award scholarship for this year.
Receiving the check, Esther Limpama, chairperson of Tretram Trust Fund, assured that they will ensure that the money reach its intended beneficiaries.
And I will tell you that we will use it according to your desire, that is satisfying the needs of those needy students who qualify to be given the scholarship. As it is now, with the free education, the school fees are being paid. But there are other needs that parents and people want. And this is what we are going to satisfy this time. We are not going to say we pay school fees because school fees have been paid. And as you all know, they haven't received uniforms. Forget about shoes.
About 134 pupils from across the country will benefit from this support. Donajemo Ovia, AYV News, Freetown.
Let's now join our team in McKinney for some news in the provinces.
Many thanks for having us, viewers and listeners. I am Abbas Sise presenting top stories and making news in the North. The Civil Society Consortium on Community Accountability and Service Delivery has held consultative meetings in the 16th district of Sierra Leone. The reason for this engagement, according to the consortium, was to solicit input of citizens into the 2019 national budget for all ministries, departments, and agencies. Our reporter Elizabeth Momo has more on this story.
Amongst many causes they fight for, the Civil Society Consortium on Community Accountability and Service Delivery has embarked on engaging citizens on the 2019 national budget for all MDAs. According to William Sawanamin, the national coordinator, he said civil society serves in a position to complement government's efforts. He explained the need of this engagement during his speech.
So this budget is again for the very first time. The national budget, when they don't send a parliament, we say enough for stop Freetown. We got voters across the country. They live McKinney, they live all over the place. They need to see this budget. Make them add a voice to the budget. There are good things in the budget. There are things in the budget when you don't elect. These are the budgets. That's why I get my hands so that summarize one. These are the budgets when they win.
But how important is citizens' participation in such issue? Taking the participant through the budget, Moses S. Mambu, the national communicator, explained the importance.
We don't find out, say, service delivery don't seriously be affected over the years. Not all it's a problem. From 1961 to date, Salon don't get problem with service delivery. Why? Because the people there, where they trust the money that they have for this service delivery, for change the lives of ordinary people. We really suffer, ordinary people. Not only do one correct, over the years, before we all don't say, not only do one correctly. Why? Because they not only do one along the people. Knowledge is power. They make to decide for this one. One for developing citizens' interest and participation now in the Salon budget.
In good governance, now 3 things a day. What are the key 3 principles in good governance? 1, you talk about accountability. 2, you talk about tolerance. 3, you talk about transparency. Over the years, we want to see when government make decisions, it happens at Twitter.
This consultative meeting will continue to reach out to the 16th district, inclusive of Colonel Makeni Kaine, which AYV caught up with. For AYV Primetime News, I am Elizabeth Momo reporting.
The Sierra Leone International Model United Nations is an organization that works toward promoting and strengthening ties and academic excellence among tertiary students across the board. Recently, the organization has established another chapter at the EBK University of Science and Technology, Makeni branch. Let us watch the launching ceremony.
Like other UN member states, we have what we call the Model United Nations, which is a replica of the UN that focus on promoting the ideals and principles of the UN among students. So today we came at the EBK University of Science and Technology to have the Simon chapter. The Sierra Leone International Model UN, as we've heard, is an organization set up to promote the ideals and principles of the UN. And this is the Simon chapter. We just ended the launching. It's a positive turnout because there are a lot of opportunities that they will be faced with, and we don't just focus on national building, but whatever has to do with international development, you know, everybody's involved. So there's a lot of opportunity set for them to grasp and expose themselves to international relations. And with regards, the meaning of this chapter is that we want to create a unity in promoting education. My message to everyone out there is change is here, and let's all embrace the change. And let's stop the blame game and mantle the affairs of leadership ourselves.
There are a lot of achievements behind this whole initiative. As you had in the statement of the executive director of the organization, we have a lot of scholarship to give students to participate in other international conferences as well, and we create the platform also for students to be educated in other areas as well and to be change makers of the society. This is a sustainable organization. And we've just concluded with the first session of the Sierra Leone International Model United Nations Conference in Freetown at Farbeck College. And this is a sustainable organization.
All right, viewers and listeners, you've been watching a major highlight on happenings in the Northern region with me, Ayv'S Cissé. On behalf of our team here in the region, let me now hand you back to our colleagues at our Wesley Studios in Freetown.
Thanks to Ayv'S Cissé and the entire team in McKinney for those updates. Now we take some stories outside Sierra Leone. British broadcaster Richard Baker, who introduced the first BBC television news broadcast, has died aged 93. Baker worked for the corporation from 1954 until 1982, beginning his BBC career as an announcer. He introduced the first news bulletin on July 5th, 1954.
Baker's family says he passed away in hospital on Saturday morning. Born in Willesden, North London in 1925, his academic talent saw him win a place at grammar school before he went on to read history and modern languages at Bitterhouse College in Cambridge. 2 terms into his university education, where he was deployed to Russia, he returned to complete his degree and worked briefly as a teacher and actor, presenting classical music show, The Third Program, which resulted in his first job for the organization. His calm and reassuring voice caught the attention of the news department, and he was enlisted to introduce their first BBC News Bulletin in 1952. Baker read the news for a further 28 years, until his retirement on New Year's Eve in 1982. His enthusiasm for an audience helped him win legions of fans throughout his long career in broadcasting and continued into his later years. Baker was living in retirement house shortly before he passed away.
Now in sports, the deputy head of mission at the Chinese embassy in Sierra Leone, Wang Jimin, together with Sierra Leone Table Tennis Association, Sierra Leone National Olympic Committee and the Ministry of Sports have officially opened a 2-day Bintumani Cup Sierra Leone International Table Tennis Tournament on Saturday, 17th November at Bintumani Hotel in Freetown. The tournament attracted children between 10 to 13 years, youth around 14 and 16 years, and adults from 16 upwards that will be playing for the Bintumani Cup. According to the Chinese Chancellor Wang Jimin, the tournament is part of China's support to the sports sector in the country.
Actually, I know that this is the second time the embassy is sponsoring this tournament in partnership with the Sierra Leone Table Tennis Association. We see that more and more Sierra Leoneans are starting to play table tennis. So I should say that this is also a shining example of good cooperation and friendship between China and Sierra Leone. So today's tournament is another demonstration of our excellent cordial relations and cooperation.
Let me at this juncture formally declare this ceremony open and the competition. I want to congratulate all the participants who will be taking part and to wish them well. The last program I was very much impressed in because of the choice in the age group of participants for the competition. I'm so pleased when I saw, maybe on the board, 14, 16, 10, 13, and so I wish you all well, and I hope at the end of this whole exercise, both participants, coaches, and the Chinese embassy will be happy and satisfied that they've done a good job.
The success of this competition is due to the collaboration, the alignment between Sierra Leone Table Tennis Association and the Chinese embassy. They've done it last year and they're doing it this year. I think
That's all we have in sports for tonight. We apologize we cannot bring you weather updates today, which is normally brought to you courtesy of Ayv'S. This is the end of Primetime News tonight. Keep sending us your thoughts via email to info@ayvnews.com. You can also connect with us online at www.ayvnews.com or download the AYV mobile app from your app store. We will be back again tomorrow with the top stories from across the country, the continent, and the world. My name is Tolo Bosma. Thanks for watching and listening.
You're watching AYV Television.